Hello, everybody, it's Tim again here with another movie review, this time for Pet Sematary Bloodlines. Now, this movie is a prequel to the Pet Sematary remake, not to the original 80s film, which also had a sequel back in the day, Pet Sematary 2. The remake, a lot of people were mixed on it. Some people like it, some people absolutely hate it. Personally, for me, I liked it. I didn't love it, but I thought it was good. I thought it was fine. It did some things wrong, but for the most part, I was entertained by it because of the actors. But I was ultimately fine with it. As far as like a new Pet Sematary movie goes, my opinion on like making another Pet Sematary is you don't really need to like redo the original yet again. If you're gonna do another movie, you need to do like a self-contained story, like its own thing. And so they decided to do a prequel about the Timmy Baterman story or whatever, who's like from the book, who only gets like a short amount of time. Where not everybody who gets buried in this the cemetery comes back absolutely murderous. Some of them just come back crazy and just go around town spouting off random crazy shit. And like in the book. That's pretty much what he did, just telling people secrets and everything. And they take that one like little story part and try to stretch it out into a full movie. And you can tell that they're trying to stretch out that section, whatever, while trying to remain as faithful as possible to like King's prose or whatever in the book. And you can tell they're having trouble here, like adding a lot of stuff in. You got Pam Grier here in here, and a couple other people like you got the dude from E.T., I believe the actor's name is Elliot Thomas. He's been in a lot of stuff by Mac Flanagan. He does a good job here. Overall, I've said the acting is fine here. Everybody does a good job. They're fine. The main actor here who plays the young Judd, though, who's supposed to be like a young version of John Lithgow, I don't buy that at all. Like, that's one of the problems with the movie. Like, the actor's acting is fine, but in terms of, like, trying to see this guy, like, growing old to be John Lithgow, no, no, that's not there. This is pretty much just like its own self-contained story that just happens to have the character Judd in it. Really, you could have just just changed this character's name and rewrote a little bit of it, and it would have had like no connection to Judd at all. And it probably would have been stronger that way. Just have this be its own self-contained prequel that really didn't have the Judd character in it at all, or maybe it had Judd in like a cameo, but didn't really focus on Judd. That probably would have made this stronger. David Duchovny plays the father in the film of Timmy Baterman or whatever. And sorry about the camera shaking right there. I had to move my hand for a minute. But he plays the father here, and you don't get a lot with him about in terms of his grieving and stuff. Like from his point of view, the movie starts out with him already burying him, and later on in the movie we see that his dog is also back from the dead as well. I'm not sure who killed the dog though. Was it Timmy? Timmy killed the dog and then he buried the dog, or did Timmy just take the dog and kill it and bury it without the dad knowing about it, without David Duchovny knowing? We don't know. But Judd and Norma, I believe is his woman's name, who winds up being his wife in the book later on, of course. They're getting ready to like leave town. They run into a crow, and then the dog is there who belongs to Timmy, and he takes the dog back. The dog attacks his woman, bites her on the arm. Timmy's like walking around town telling crazy shit to everybody, and they got like you find out that Timmy and Judd used to be friends, and they also have like this Indian friend or whatever this guy they used to know when they were kids, and he does a good job in the movie as well. I will say he's the only one with a full arc because he's the only one that gets to like leave town by the end. So yeah. So that's the whole thing, is like they're wanting to leave town, and by the end of the movie, of course, you know Judd isn't going to leave town. It's a prequel, so you know he has to be there for the main story that we see in the film adaptations of the book. And if you hear anything, there's a big ass plane going overhead a helicopter going overhead right now. But yeah, he has to be there for the main story of the book, so you know he's not really going anywhere. So the movie pretty much ends with him like rocking on the porch and everything. I guess like kind of gives you the idea that maybe he's going to take up for his father. His father dies at the end, and when he's getting ready to say the dead is better line or whatever, and he gets stabbed, he doesn't get to finish it, which I thought was kind of neat. He's stabbed by the Indian boy's sister, whatever, gets killed, and she gets brought back as a zombie by Timmy, and she stabs Judd's father through the back to the stomach or whatever at the end when he gets ready to say the dead is better line. Sometimes dead is better. I kind of like that. He got took out before he got to say it, and then at the end Judd says the full line. So you kind of get the idea that maybe Judd's gonna like stay in the town just because his father was there and he's gonna like take up the mantle of trying to protect, keep people from going to the Micmac burial ground and everything. But of course, in the remake that we see, it doesn't totally line up because he does take the family up there and everything. But you get the idea that because they mentioned it in this movie too, that the cemetery can like kind of seduce you or whatever into going there. And of course, it had probably been decades upon decades since anyone had ever buried anybody up there and had a big, reign of havoc again or whatever since this movie. But it doesn't totally line up. But at the same time, it works well enough. But like I'm saying, this really could have just been its own movie with its own character. It didn't really have to be Judd at all. But in terms of rating for this movie, I'd give it a low 2 stars. This is a passable one-off watch. Like I said, the acting is fine. The Indian dude in here, he pretty much gets to take out like both of the zombie creatures. He takes his sister out when he shoots her in the face, and they mentioned in the movie you had to shoot him in the eyes, aim for the eyes, basically. And he takes his sister out after Elliot Thomas, I believe is the actor's name, the dude from E.T. who plays Judd's father. He shoots her once, and then she gets took out fully by her brother, the Indian dude. And then he's the one that leaves town at the end. He also takes out like the Timmy dude at the end who's fighting with Judd in the swamp. He's like drowning Judd or whatever. That's what I'm saying. Like Judd doesn't really get to do a lot in this. The movie kind of jumps around and kind of focuses more on the town and the conspiracy of the town, of the lineage of like the founding fathers of the place, of Ludlow, like trying to keep the Pet Cemetery place or whatever, make burial ground like covered up and everything, keep people from going there and using it. And we do see a flashback back to like Native American times where the burial ground was like first used, I guess, or not so much first used, but when it was first used by the people who came there to like create Ludlow, the community or whatever. And one of their people that has been brought back is like eating on like other people, and then they have to shoot him and take him out. And then of course that's what they named, and the guy's name was Ludlow, so they named the town after him. But yeah. It almost would have been interesting to see like a prequel back in Native American times where the ground first goes sour or whatever, where it first goes evil, and you see like the Indians or whatever using it. That would have kind of been interesting. Another thing is that the Wendigo in the book is supposed to be the darkness or the evil that's in the ground or whatever that's infecting it. Here they never mention the Wendigo. They just refer to it as like an ancient evil, basically, that exists in the ground. But it's always been there, basically. Or it seems like they're saying it's always been there, but really they also mentioned that in the flashback scene the ground went sour. So it seems like it seems a little convoluted in that essence. Like it seems on one hand they're saying that this evil has always been there, and maybe it just got awakened when the ground went sour or something. I guess it could say it that way. But they speak of it more as a force instead of just calling it the Wendigo. I wish they would have just called it the Wendigo and just had a scene with the Wendigo and just developed that a little bit more. I don't know why they just don't do that in one of these movies. They have yet to just have the Wendigo. I don't know why. Maybe they just think it would look silly with a creature with like half human and half deer body or whatever antlers. Maybe they just think that would look stupid. I don't know. But yeah, you get to the end and it's like Judd rocking on his porch or whatever, and the Indian dude leaves town. He finally leaves town because it's what his sister wanted him to do. So he gets the full arc, and you get the semis and stuff like speeding by or whatever and all that throughout the movie. Another thing is the end, like when Norma gets kidnapped and they bury her alive so she can die in the Pet Cemetery and basically be brought back at the same time. Instead of just killing her and burying her, that was a little weird, but I guess they just wanted her to suffer. But then the thing just caves in, and she just gets herself out at the end, and she just reunites with Judd after Timmy's been killed. And it's like, that was really lame. They should have had Judd save her. That was, yeah, sorry about that, I had an itch. But yeah, that was really stupid. Just lame. And another thing is this movie's not gory enough. Like when a lot of characters, at the end, there's like 4 or 5 characters who are part of the town conspiracy to keep people from going to the burial ground. And Pam Grier is one of them. And they all get killed off like off screen. You never see any gore. This has to be like a choice by the director. Maybe I believe it might be a female director. I don't know, but maybe they thought they were doing this like suspense and everything, and we didn't need to really see all the gore. Maybe they thought that'd be more intense or scarier, but this movie doesn't have the atmosphere, or it doesn't have the thriller like pace and feel in order for that to work. This movie needed more gore, and even when like the zombie creatures come back, they're not messed up enough. They're not gory looking enough, creepy looking enough. They just look like average people for the most part, just like covered in dirt. Not grotesque enough. And in the remake, when the little girl came back, she wasn't super grotesque, but she still looked weird and off enough to where it'd be creepy. The dude in this and the Indian girl, they don't look weird enough. They just look like somebody threw dirt on their face. But yeah, overall, this is a better written movie than Pet Sematary 2, but Pet Sematary 2 and this one are the weakest of the franchise. This is a better written movie in terms of Pet Sematary 2, but it's worse executed. The script is better, but the execution is worse because of the director. The directing here in terms of the execution of this story is worse because there's not enough gore. It feels like this movie probably had a lot of deleted scenes. It feels like some of it's been cut out. I suspect some of it's been cut out anyway, because it feels like parts of the story are missing. Maybe they released like an unrated Blu-ray or something. Maybe it would be go from a passable film to like an okay one probably. But yeah, Pet Sematary 2 is more entertaining than this film, so I gotta give it to Pet Sematary 2 as being the slightly better film than this, just from pure entertainment value, because that film's pretty much just a schlock B movie. For what it is, it's entertaining for the silly factor for Clancy Brown. This film's trying to be a legit Pet Sematary story, and it almost gets there. It has the acting talent, has the actors to do it, and the script is almost there. It's just the execution of it It's not good enough. I think the director just kind of failed the project in this one. I think this is a sign where if you had a better director, or a director who knew more about horror, knew what they were doing more with horror, I think this could have worked. But yeah, overall, passable one-off watch. Not the worst movie I've ever seen or anything, but I wouldn't watch this again. Should they make another Pet Sematary? If this is a hit for Paramount Plus or whatever, because it's made for streaming, then they probably will make a new one in the remake timeline or something. Maybe they'll do like a sequel to the remake, probably, and have it, because the little boy was still alive at the end of it. We don't know if if the zombie family actually killed him and buried him. Maybe they could just do a direct sequel, or a sequel set now or whatever, with him like luring people to his zombie family because they raised him and everything. Who knows? I'm sure they'll try to do something else with this property again in the future. But yeah, overall for this one, low 2 stars, passable one-off watch. I wouldn't watch it again. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again.